Hi, it's David C. Jones, and I probably don't have any background noise because this is the first interview in a while where I haven't been in a cafe or a coffee shop. I'm actually at home, and we are before the curtain goes up, and the curtain is about to go up on another ZZ Theater production. They're doing so many shows in this 15th anniversary, and we're going to meet the writer of this show. And I'm going to remove my pin and say hello. How are you, Bronwyn?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm deliciously well, although I'm a little confused because of all these interviews that I'm doing all of a sudden. Unexpecting. What? This is a pregnancy show. You got four ladies in it. Four ladies. Are there any men? There's four ladies in the picture.
Oh, just women.
Just women. Oh, and no, is this part of the Femme Festival too?
No, this is part of CC's season. Yeah.
Okay, so it's just a coincidence that they're doing the Femme Fest, and you're like, well, we have women, but we're not part of your Femme Fest.
Yeah, we're on the other side of the city.
We're being feminine over here. Unexpecting. This is a pregnancy, or trying not to be pregnant. What's going on in this show? What are these four women in the picture talking about?
I wouldn't say it's about pregnancy, but there's a pregnant character in the show. The show follows a queer couple, Annie and Joe, and kind of curtain comes up as they're 6 years into trying to make a family together through adoption, IVF, and nothing's worked so far. And they're kind of getting to the point where their pennies and their patience are drying up. And we see them at kind of that last chance to make a family together. And it just so happens that the birth mother, knocks on their door. And that's kind of what happens, and comedy ensues. It's a comedy. It's a lighthearted queer comedy. There's some underbelly to it as well, but I really do want people to come in and laugh.
Nice. So does a person knock on the door? Is their name Stork?
No, Sawyer, close.
Because they're pregnant, right? So now you said
Yeah,
the
yeah.
birth mother. Do you mean like one of the ladies, one of the lesbians, their birth mother arrives to say what's going on, or
So um, the show is set up that they've gone through the private adoption system in BC,
oh,
and they've been matched with a birth mother,
okay.
and she's getting a little bit of cold feet, and so all of this ramps up into she shows up at their door wanting to talk to them, basically.
Now, and I don't know if this is getting too personal. Is this something that you have experience with, or is this like friends of yours went through this and you went, "Ooh, I think this is ripe for a play," or did you see something on Oprah? Like how did this show come into your head and you started madly typing away?
Well, I think just as a queer person growing up, I always knew that I want a family, and I always knew that the way that I would have a family would be quote unquote unconventional. So, this is, not based on verbatim my life, but it is definitely something that I am in the process of. And also, I know a lot of people that have adopted and a lot of other queer families that have, you know, I guess it's like partly the found family and partly the created family. And for me, I grew up not really seeing a lot of those rom-coms. It was always about, the the white straight couple, and they're all in love and they have that fight and then they get back together.
They have that
And
misunderstanding. It's a misunderstanding.
yeah,
Oh,
misunderstanding.
that was your sister. Oh,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
interrupted you.
That's okay. But yeah, so I wanted to explore that for myself. And I
Nice.
would say that I mean all the characters have elements of me in them, and truth, and a little bit of fiction as well.
Nice. Now there's four characters. So we have the person who says, "Yeah, I'll carry your baby and give it to you." You have the lesbian couple. Then you have a fourth character. Is she a diamond smuggler? What's going on there? Or is she a surprise? Or she's a ghost?
No, Well, the birth mother is kind of the surprise. That's why I was a little bit like, oh, do I give this away? But I
We see
mean,
there's 4 people in the picture.
spoiler alerts. But no, the fourth character, played by the amazing Melissa Wee, is
I love her.
yeah, is one of our main characters' best friends who's just in town, and she's like a very brash, says it how it is. She's a high level showrunner in LA, and kind of just is stopping by, and also she kind of brings chaos with her wherever she goes.
Nice. Is she kinda like the Jiminy Cricket? Like, she'll, like, point out truths that they may not be, aware
Yeah,
of?
yeah, for sure.
Nice.
She doesn't sugarcoat things.
Uh, how did you go about the writing process? Like, one of the things, like, everyone has in them, on like, oh, I have this idea for a play, I have this idea for a movie, and then they don't get around to doing it, or they start it and then give up. So what was your process of actually creating this piece?
Yeah, I've always been a writer. I actually had my first um poem published when I was 8 years old, and it all kind
Oh,
of from there. And so, but this show really, it did come out of that. I want to create something that's funny and heartwarming, and I want to just see a queer couple on stage that aren't dealing with homophobia or like their identity. So that's where it sprung from. And then the development process, I developed it through the Emerging Playwrights Unit at the Arts Club. I was one of the first inaugural folks as part of that
nice.
collective. So started working on that the very tail end of 2018, and then into 2019, and then was very, very lucky, and I got to go to the Banff, got to go to Banff to for a week-long workshop to
You
work.
gotta go.
Yeah, and that was amazing. It really, really helped me in the process of the show. And then Arts Club picked it up as a audio play. It was the first audio play in the Listen to This
That
series.
was during the pandemic, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah, that was the beginning of 2021.
uh,
Yeah, so that happened, and then basically,
Did Cameron listen to it and said, I
yes.
must do this?
And then right as soon as it was released, Cameron, I think, sent me like 7 texts and called me because we've worked together for many years, even before this. And he was like, I have to do this show. Means so much to me. And that meant a lot to me that he was so touched and had such a close relationship with this story.
Because
Um,
he and his partner, they have a kid too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was, and so that's kind of how that happened, and just kept working with it. I've also had the chance to workshop it quite a few times with, well, just for, a day here, a day there, but with lots of very talented actresses in the city. So a lot of people's voices have helped the show.
Now,
So
I want to jump back to the first part of this process because what happens with the Arts Club emerging playwrights? Like, do you all sit in a room with typewriters and then a bell goes off and you have to read out what you've done, or how does that work?
kind of. We
Nice. Good
so
guess.
we met once a month, and we were before the pandemic, so very lucky we got to meet fully in person. There's 4 of us, and yeah, we met in person once a month, and then usually 2 people would go, so you'd get your work read every other month.
Oh,
Um, and yeah, we just read each other's work, got to hear it out loud, feedback. Stephen Drover facilitates it, so he steps in as a dramaturg as well. And yeah, and then I guess not to like keep talking about Banff, but Banff was such a special time that I didn't bring my phone with me. Like
Oh, wow.
I had no distractions. I was just there to work on.
How did you survive?
Gosh, I know, it was like olden times. I didn't know what time it was though. Uh, Missed the flight because Steven drove her. I was like Lottie dying in the Starbucks line, and Steven comes like running down. He's like, "What are you doing? The flight is taking off in 5 minutes." It's like, I, I guess I should have brought a watch or something, but it was just, yeah. So every night at the end of the day, we would all kind of gather together after dinner, read all of our work, and that's when I like fully finished the first draft of the whole show. And it's a 2 act, so it felt like a very big moment to kind of land on that. And then
Wow.
from there, I mean, it's been 3 years, 4 years. I don't know.
Math is
Time.
hard.
Been
You don't
at
even
least
know what time it is.
and I felt like since then I've just grown and matured as a person and as a writer. So a lot of the writing has just gotten a little bit deeper. And so my journey has been like keeping the comedy, but also letting the writing mature and letting the characters become more complex and nuanced. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Now, one of the things that I've done a little writing, and one of the things that's always weird is when you suddenly hear someone saying your words, and because you've imagined them in your head, and you can hear the characters speak, but of course the actors are going to not necessarily speak them the way you imagine them in your head. So I'm sure you were like, I just completely let it go. But I'm sure there was a little part of you that went, huh, that's not how you say that line.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the comedy, and rhythm is so much a part of it. But like I said before, I've been very, very lucky to have some of the city's most talented actresses read this show. And I think that throughout the whole process, yes, it's always a bit daunting and a bit scary, but I feel like to me for theater, it's the piece is not alive until actors read it. And I feel like sometimes like playwriting is a lot like mu writing music, especially with a comedy, the rhythms that go up and down, and I just have to hear it and hear how things are trucking along. So to me, it didn't feel real until I had actors read it. And I generally have actors read my work pretty early on in the process.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I have a pretty great group of folks that are kind of my core people that I call up and come into my living room. Let's read this thing, have some wine and snacks, and see how it sounds out loud. Because for me, it just determines what path I'm going down, maybe even before I know where I want to go.
Nice, nice. So you're quite used to hearing the words that you wrote come out of the mouths of other people, and they're gonna put some emphasis on one word or a different word or the right.
Yeah,
So you're like, yeah, I'm used to that.
I mean, it's still nerve-wracking, and I mean, last week was our first week of rehearsal, and I think like for the first 3 days, I was just an anxious, nervous wreck because it's very vulnerable to put your
Oh,
stuff
for
in
sure.
front of people.
Nice.
Um,
As they explore it, or as the director starts speaking, you want to go, no, no, I can't say anything.
Yeah,
um,
I actually do have to say that that's the other thing. I'm so happy that Cameron's directing this piece. Everything he said, down from to like huge, large picture things to small costume details, everything he said, I've been like, yeah, that's what I thought too.
nice, nice. Well, wonderful. Well, here's what we're gonna do. You're a writer. You're not a marketing person,
No,
but
yeah.
I do this with all my guests. You're going to, when I say go, you're going to turn to the little green dot on your camera. So you're going to look right into the heart and soul of the person watching this video. and you're going to sell them why they should part with their money and go to the theater to see your new script. So you're going to sell them. Not you're not gonna say it's good for you or it's time, right? I worked really hard. You have to go, I gotta sell this show. Okay, you ready? And
Okay.
action.
Okay. So this is a queer comedy starring 4 women. That in itself makes a statement. It's a very intimate space, and we've done something really cool that I guarantee you've never seen at Studio 16. You're gonna laugh. You might cry. I don't want to pat myself on the back too much there, but there is a lot of laughs and a lot of heart in this comedy. And these actresses are some of the fucking best actors you'll see in this city, and they deserve for you to spend your money to come and see the show.
Nice. I love it. You know what? I've done this now because I've done a lot of interviews. I've been wearing the same shirt, and I even put on my little kerchief again.
Any other?
Even I took it off and I put it back on so I look the same in all the videos. But you, of all the people I've had actors, that you did the best job selling the show. That just shows me how passionate you are about your work. That you can just go wow and reach out through the screen and tell people to come and see it, and they should, shouldn't they?
I hope so. It would be really helpful for me too.
Nice, because then you have a hit show, and then other theater companies go, "Hey, we want to do it now." Has anyone
Yeah.
been sniffing around yet?
Oh, yeah, I have for the show? Well,
Yeah.
yes, of course, but I have some other shows in the hopper as well. It's an exciting time, and the pandemic kind of screeched everything to a bit of a halt, and so it's like, okay, we're getting back on the horse now.
So, do you have a backlog of products because of the pandemic? You're like, I got 47 plays written.
I still kept a full-time job throughout the entire pandemic, but I have a few. I have a few.
Nice.
So you're
Well,
in the
we're looking forward to this one.
yeah.
I thank you so much for taking time. We did this interview rather late in the day, so thank you for being able to accommodate that. And bravo! Thanks for talking
Thank
with me, Rowan. Bye.
you.